love the Eagles as much as we do, then hit that subscribe button and stick with us at Eagles Nest News for all the drama, updates, and hype all season long. The buzz around Christian DARRISAW and the Eagles has been growing quietly but intensely, the kind of whisper that starts in back hallways and suddenly feels too loud to ignore. People close to the situation keep hinting that this is not just another routine move, but something far more symbolic, almost like a statement of intent from a franchise that wants to redefine how it protects its future. When DARRISAW's name began circulating alongside Philadelphia, it felt surreal to many fans, yet insiders insist that the interest has been mutual for a long time. The Eagles, known for valuing trench dominance, reportedly see DARRISAW as the kind of cornerstone presence who can change the personality of an offense without ever touching the ball. The speculation suggests conversations were subtle, calculated, and layered with long-term vision rather than urgency. From the outside, it feels like one of those moves that only makes sense when you understand the philosophy behind it. DARRISAW is seen as calm, technically refined, and mentally mature, traits that resonate deeply with what the Eagles have quietly been trying to build. The rumor mill says this is about trust, projection, and belief, not hype. And when a team like Philadelphia moves this quietly, it usually means something serious is brewing beneath the surface. As the whispers grew louder, the narrative began to shift from curiosity to expectation, and that is where things get truly fascinating. Fans started connecting dots, analysts began revisiting old tape, and suddenly DARRISAW's style seemed tailor-made for what the Eagles want to be. The idea floating around is that this acquisition would not just be about filling a position, but about stabilizing an entire side of the offensive line for years to come. People familiar with the locker room culture say the Eagles value players who speak through consistency rather than volume, and DARRISAW fits that mold almost too perfectly. The speculation hints that coaches were drawn to how he handles pressure, how he resets after mistakes, and how rarely he looks overwhelmed. That kind of presence can be contagious, especially in an environment where leadership is shared rather than forced. Some even suggest that younger linemen would instantly benefit just from lining up next to him, absorbing habits and discipline through repetition. It is being framed not as a flashy splash, but as a quiet foundation stone, the type of move that looks smarter with every passing month rather than louder on announcement day. What makes this rumor even more intriguing is the way it aligns with the Eagles' broader identity shift. Over time, there's been a sense that the organization wants to return to a more physical, imposing brand of football, one where control at the line of scrimmage dictates everything else. DARRISAW, in that context, feels less like a luxury and more like a necessity. The speculation suggests that decision-makers see him as someone who can neutralize elite pass rushers while still bringing power in the run game, creating balance without telegraphing intentions. That dual threat is something Philadelphia has always prized, and the thought of plugging DARRISAW into that system has fans dreaming about sustainability rather than short bursts of success. Insiders hint that internal evaluations highlighted his footwork, patience, and hand placement as traits that age well, making him a safer long-term bet than flashier alternatives. The rumor also implies that this move could free up play-calling creativity, allowing the offense to expand without fear of collapse under pressure. When protection becomes dependable, confidence spreads everywhere, from the quarterback to the coaching staff. There is also an emotional layer to this speculation that cannot be ignored. Philadelphia is a city that appreciates effort, toughness, and authenticity more than empty bravado, and many believe DARRISAW embodies those qualities naturally. The chatter suggests that scouts and executives felt he would thrive under the city's intensity rather than shrink from it. That matters because not every talented player adapts to that environment. The Eagles are rumored to have studied his demeanor just as closely as his physical traits, trying to project how he would handle criticism, praise, and the relentless spotlight. The conclusion, according to whispers, was overwhelmingly positive. Some even claim that the front office sees this move as a way to send a message to the locker room, signaling that accountability and consistency are being rewarded and prioritized. When a team invests heavily in protection, it often reflects a deeper commitment to offensive identity and player safety. That narrative resonates with veterans and newcomers alike, creating buy-in that goes beyond contracts and depth charts. As the story continues to circulate, fans have begun to imagine the ripple effects of such a signing, and that is where speculation becomes almost cinematic. The idea is that DARRISAW's presence could allow other linemen to settle more naturally into their roles, reducing the need for constant shuffling and emergency adjustments. Stability, after all, is one of the most underrated assets in football. The rumors suggest that coaches envision cleaner pockets, more deliberate timing, and fewer broken plays caused by immediate pressure. Over time, those small improvements can snowball into confidence, rhythm, and efficiency. People close to the team say, this is exactly the kind of move that does not dominate headlines every week, but quietly shows up in how the offense looks more composed. It is not about dominance in isolation, but about cohesion, trust, and predictability in the best possible way. If true, the DARRISAW acquisition would represent patience rewarded, a calculated gamble rooted in belief rather than desperation. By the time the conversation reaches its current intensity, it almost feels inevitable, even though nothing has been formally declared. That is the power of a well-aligned rumor, one that fits philosophy, need, and culture all at once. The Eagles and DARRISAW seem, at least in theory, like a natural match, and that is why this speculation refuses to fade. It speaks to a larger story about building from the inside out, about choosing substance over spectacle, and about trusting that the right pieces will elevate everyone around them. Whether or not every detail of the rumor proves accurate, the very fact that it feels plausible says a lot about where the Eagles see themselves going. And if Christian DARRISAW truly is central to that vision, then this could be remembered as one of those moments where a franchise quietly changed its trajectory without ever needing to shout. The second layer of this speculation dives deeper into what Christian DARRISAW could symbolize for the Eagles beyond the immediate tactical impact. There's a growing belief among observers that this move represents a philosophical reset, a recommitment to fundamentals that often get overshadowed by flashier storylines. The rumor suggests that the Eagles want to reestablish dominance where games are truly shaped, and DARRISAW is viewed as a physical manifestation of that mindset. His calm demeanor and technical reliability are said to mirror the kind of professionalism the front office wants as its baseline standard. This is not about chasing trends, but about trusting proven traits that translate regardless of scheme adjustments or personnel changes. Insiders whisper that the coaching staff envisions building weekly game plans with more confidence, knowing that the edge protection can be trusted without constant help. That freedom could subtly change how defenses approach Philadelphia, forcing them to respect the line before gambling elsewhere. In that sense, DARRISAW becomes more than a player. He becomes a strategic anchor around which everything else rotates. Another angle circulating quietly is how this rumored signing could influence future roster decisions. The idea is that securing a cornerstone lineman like DARRISAW allows the Eagles to allocate resources more creatively elsewhere. When one of the most critical positions feels settled, it reduces panic and opens doors for patience. Some insiders believe this is part of a longer chess match, where stability now creates flexibility later. The speculation hints that younger players would benefit from clearer development paths, no longer forced into uncomfortable roles out of necessity. That kind of clarity can accelerate growth and reduce burnout, especially in a league defined by constant pressure. There's also talk that veteran voices in the locker room would welcome this move, seeing it as a sign that the organization values protection and longevity. When players feel protected structurally, morale tends to rise, and that often translates into better preparation and accountability. The rumor mill also touches on how DARRISAW's personality might mesh with the Eagles' internal leadership dynamic. Rather than arriving as a vocal alpha demanding attention, he is perceived as someone who leads through repetition and reliability. That style often earns respect organically, especially among linemen who value trust above all else. The whispers suggest that this quiet leadership could balance a locker room filled with different personalities, offering stability without friction. Coaches reportedly admire how DARRISAW handles adversity, rarely letting one bad snap spiral into a bad series. That emotional consistency is invaluable over the long grind of the season, where mental fatigue can be just as damaging as physical wear. The Eagles are rumored to see this trait as a competitive advantage, something that cannot be easily taught but can be leveraged once present. From a fan perspective, the speculation has sparked a mix of excitement and cautious optimism. Supporters who have watched the Eagles thrive when their offensive line is strong recognize the familiar pattern forming. The idea of DARRISAW wearing Philadelphia colors taps into memories of past eras defined by toughness and cohesion. Yet there is also an understanding that greatness is never guaranteed, and that is why this rumor feels grounded rather than inflated. It is not being sold as a miracle solution, but as a smart investment that raises the floor of the entire unit. That distinction matters because it shapes expectations realistically. Fans are not dreaming of instant transformation, but of gradual, sustainable improvement. And in a city that values honesty, that approach resonates deeply. As the conversation continues to evolve, some speculate that this move could even influence how opponents prepare for the Eagles. A trusted blindside presence forces defenses to rethink pressure packages, potentially reducing creative freedom on their end. That chess match, played weekly, often determines outcomes long before skill players make highlight plays. The rumor suggests that Philadelphia staff sees this as a subtle edge, one that compounds over time. When opponents hesitate, even for a moment, it can change everything. That is the hidden value of elite line play, and it is why DARRISAW's name keeps resurfacing in these discussions. His impact would not always be visible, but it would be felt consistently. Ultimately, the speculation surrounding Christian DARRISAW and the Eagles feels less like wishful thinking and more like a story waiting for confirmation. It aligns too cleanly with needs, philosophy, and culture to be dismissed casually. Whether the move materializes exactly as rumored or takes an unexpected turn, the narrative itself reveals how the Eagles want to be perceived. They want to be seen as deliberate, disciplined, and committed to winning the hard way. If DARRISAW becomes part of that identity, his signing will be remembered not just as a transaction, but as a signal that the foundation matters, that patience is power, and that sometimes the biggest moves are the ones that speak the softest. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The continuation of this rumor takes an even deeper dive into the symbolic weight that Christian DARRISAW could carry if he truly becomes part of the Eagles' long-term plan. What people are quietly suggesting behind the scenes is that this move would represent a subtle but firm declaration about priorities. The Eagles, according to speculation, want to remind the league that sustained success is built through structure, not shortcuts. DARRISAW is being framed as the embodiment of that belief, a player whose value shows up snap after snap rather than in viral moments. The whispers indicate that the front office views him as someone who raises standards without ever needing to verbalize them. His preparation habits, his attention to detail, and his consistency are rumored to align perfectly with what the coaching staff wants to normalize inside the building. This is not about star power in the traditional sense, but about dependability becoming the new currency. People close to the situation hint that the Eagles believe culture is shaped by the quietest habits, not the loudest speeches. If DARRISAW is indeed brought in, the expectation would not be immediate praise, but immediate responsibility. That kind of trust can redefine how a locker room sees itself. Another layer of speculation revolves around how this acquisition could influence the mental state of the offense as a whole. Offensive players often speak about the psychological comfort that comes from trusting protection, and the rumor suggests that DARRISAW would provide exactly that. When linemen are reliable, quarterbacks feel freer, play callers feel braver, and receivers feel more confident extending routes. The idea circulating is that his presence could subtly unlock dimensions of the offense that currently exist only in theory. This would not happen overnight, but gradually, as trust accumulates through repetition. Insiders whisper that the Eagles envision fewer rush decisions, fewer forced adjustments, and a calmer offensive rhythm. That calmness can be contagious, spreading across the unit and even influencing how practices are conducted. When fundamentals feel secure, creativity flourishes naturally. That is the domino effect the Eagles are rumored to be chasing, and DARRISAW is seen as the first piece in that sequence. There is also growing talk about how this move would resonate internally with younger players trying to find their footing. The speculation suggests that having a proven, steady presence on the line would create a living example of what longevity looks like at the professional level. Younger linemen would not just be coached, they would observe daily routines, recovery habits, and mental discipline in real time. That kind of mentorship does not always come from vocal instruction, but from proximity and repetition. The Eagles are rumored to value this organic development pathway, believing it creates stronger bonds and more authentic growth. In that sense, DARRISAW's influence would extend beyond his own snaps, shaping the next wave of contributors quietly. The front office, according to whispers, sees this as an investment that multiplies rather than depreciates. One steady presence can elevate an entire room, especially in a position group where chemistry matters deeply. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.